everybody. Welcome to 2013 and my first project of the year. If you don't know, every year I pick a special word that exemplifies something about the way I want to live my life for the next year, or something I want to improve on. And as you can tell here, my word for this year is zest. I did this little journal from scratch, and just so we can tell, the outer cover is roughly, well, this part of the cover anyway, is about 8.5. It's just a little over 8.5 this way, and it is about 10.5 that way. And what I wanted to do is I wanted to create something that was spiral bound, that could expand a whole lot, that I could close off. And I really did start from scratch and use my bind at all. This is the 1-inch coil that I used. And I used canvas that I stained with the Tim Holtz Distress Stain in Vintage Photo. And the paper I used is from Prima, and it's Romantique, which is an offshoot of, I believe, romance novel, because it's identical. If you look, it's identical to the romance novel paper. The advantage of getting this, and I got 4 sheets of it at Hobby Lobby, is that it's much, much thinner. It's one-sided, and that made it a lot easier to put on my journal and fold it over. So you'll see it is spiral bound, and what I did is I put a lot of pages in here, and how I created my cover. If you'd like me to do a tutorial on that later, I will. What I did is this part here of the cover is actually bound, and the outside portion of the cover is glued to the inside portion. And I used the same paper on both, but I needed to hide part of where it comes together. It's my first try at this, so it's not perfect, but it's actually going to work pretty well, I think. I also knew that eventually this book would get to be really big, and so I wanted to create something that I could close. And so if you look at the back cover, I actually put a big rubber band that, again, I stained with the Distress Stain from Tim Holtz in Vintage Photo, so that my binding and my rubber band or elastic, depending on which country you're from, will actually match. And that way my book can close now and forever. It'll be able to be, pretty thick. I only decorated the first page so far because, well, it's January 1st, and I have it on good information from a really good friend of mine that it's a really good thing to start a new project on January 1st of a year. It brings you luck. And I thought I could use all the luck. So what you see here is my word of the year. These are from the romance novel. I cut these out, and so is this. This is from the chipboard piece. And now the TV just went back on. And I don't really want to redo this, so I am going to turn off the TV. I should have turned it off. I paused it, and I obviously went through the buffer. So what I have in here are, before I get back to the front page, are a lot of cardstock that I had left over that matches this. And then I have some mixed media Hansen paper. And the Canson book that this comes from is actually what eventually led me to the size I wanted to create, because I wanted to be able to put these pages in. And in order to protect the rest of the book from anywhere that I might decide to play with inks and pens and whatnot in super mushy stuff, I also put pieces of acetate in the beginning and end of each of these sections. And I also put one here. And right now we have a little bit of hot glue strings. But I use my Distress It All to distress the edges of the pages. I wanted it to look a little shabbier here and not too clean. And so you'll see there's another section here of white pages. And there's another one here. And I don't intend on necessarily working the book in order, but I did want to create the first page with my word of the year. And you can see, and again, this is, we'll take the, I did put plastic at the front of it just because I'm a big fan of acrylic. If you don't know that about me, I really love acrylic. And there's the word for 2013, zest. And the definition of zest, definition one is a piece of the peel of a citrus fruit, as an orange or lemon, used as flavoring. And you'll often hear about people, it's when you grate the rind, what you get is the zest. And the second definition, according to Merriam-Webster, is an enjoyable, exciting quality. Piquancy adds zest to the performance. And the third one is keen enjoyment, relish, gusto, has a zest for living. And that's really what I'm after this year. Last year, my word was serenity. And it, I believe that words are very powerful. And I realized during the final preparations for our Christmas this year that I actually had become more serene. There were a lot of things that I could go and say to myself, like, is this so important that I should get upset about it? And often the answer was no. And it was a revelation to me that I'd actually achieved a higher level of serenity. I'm far from being serene, but a higher level of serenity, which is what the point was. And this year, the point is zest. I think you get to a certain point in life where you know that most of your life is behind you and that the years ahead of you may be a little bit more difficult, psychologically, because you're going to start losing friends, and physically because, well, you're not 20, 30 years old anymore. And sometimes it's hard to keep the zest of living a life alive. And I realize that it's easy to sort of slip into just, existing as opposed to living and having, living with gusto, living with relish, enjoying each moment, looking at the little things and saying, they're perfect for this moment. And so what I wish for you all, because this is also obviously my 2013 Happy New Year message, is may you too find a word that describes what you really want to get better at this year. And take the time to create a project that will allow you to make that word become a reality. And I think writing it down is really, really important. Last year, I made a canvas, and a mixed media canvas with the word serenity on it, and I put it in full view. And, I think it worked. I certainly wasn't serene all the time, and I'm sure that there'll be days when I really feel no zest at all for life. But hey, you got to start somewhere. And there you go. Have a very, very happy New Year. May you be healthy. May you have a smile on your face 98% of the time. May you learn from the hard times, enjoy the good times, and share all of it with the people that love you the most. Happy 2013, everybody, and I hope you have a very creative year. Bye-bye.